DreamHack Masters Malmö is brought to you by Aces ROG, HyperX, and Monster Energy.
Day 2 in Malmö, and the first already left many wounded. We see 4 teams eliminated already out of the running here. A new format moving away, or rather new. It's one of the most OG formats we've had in Counter-Strike, but still we stand here in the Malmö arena, getting closer and closer to playoffs. The crowd will be filling in over the 2nd and 3rd of September, and you can still join us, of course. Tickets are available, but this is where it does start getting even more exciting. Best of 3s for the entire day, so you can go ahead and clear your calendar, sit back, relax, and join us. Myself, Machine, my panel, you'll meet them in just a second, and we're going to go basically chat-wise about Counter-Strike, at least we'll attempt to. It's going to be quite the day, and we get to see some of the world's best doing battle. One final thank you, or a first thank you, to our sponsors as well. We wouldn't be here without them, the likes of HyperX, Monster Energy, and Aces ROG, helping me pretend to be smart with all the magical stats on this thing. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. Yanko.
Happy 18th birthday, Alex.
Yep. Cool, that's me, man.
I think you can tell that you're so young because you think GSL is the OG format. That just means you've not been here since the start.
That's true.
Round Robin is the OG Nightmare format.
Wait, you say that, but you're so young as well that you don't know about the old school double elim, set brackets from round 256. Yeah, you start round 1
but that's not a group.
This is the first time I think the internet's seen you with a beard, and it isn't your own age.
Yeah.
So you're both only in your mid-20s.
And when I say OG, to be fair, in my defense, in the game that I attempted to try and do esports in, which wasn't very big.
Don't mention it.
It was GSL. It was always GSL.
Well, another 3-letter game.
Yeah, it was another 3-letter.
But anyway, happy birthday.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I actually kind of forgot about it. I woke up and I was just like, I've got
you got so wasted last night you don't remember anything.
Yeah. Actually, it's really sad what I was actually doing. Instead of getting drunk, I was we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, you have to, because it seems like
sounds worse, doesn't it? I was playing World of Warcraft in my hotel room, and then I turned 24. So that's how you know you've hit rock bottom.
The Dota crew is really rubbing off on you, man.
Yeah, hey man, I'm loving it. Yeah, I got my flying mount. Anyway, Counter-Strike. Let's do that before I suddenly become a virgin again. Yanko, first things first, dude. Format does seem to be the topic of discussion here, because I mean, right out of the gates, I tell you that Envy, Mouse, Virtus Pro, and admittedly, yes, more expectedly, perhaps the guys from Singapore Boot, they're all eliminated, and we don't get to see them on day 2.
Yes, this is, usually when we have GSL, you need to make compromise in terms of which game is going to be best of 1, which is going to be best of 3. You go for the loser game being best of 3 because you don't want a team to be knocked out of the tournament without playing a...
Can I interject?
Oh, God.
The teams don't want to go out 0 and 2 without
fair.
playing best of 3.
The teams,
the viewers, on the other hand, they don't really care.
No.
Yeah, from more of a competitive side of things, you look at it and then, just winning 2 best of 1s and making the playoffs already, that also seems a little bit unfair. So this time around, we see the winner's game and the decider being both best of 3, which I believe, is going to turn out a better decision when it comes to the general tournament.
In terms of how those playoffs look.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. However, I don't think to add to the pile. I mean, the best of 3 winners for me just makes me kind of realize that getting that bye, getting that immediate kind of ticket to the playoffs after 2 games, I think it deserves a best of 3. I quite like that.
Yeah, no, you kind of earned it at that point more than just kind of,
Oh, we got our map.
Yes. Yeah, you could have gotten, 2 hot best of 1s, and that's pretty much all you have to offer for the entire tournament. But still, you've had a really good overall result, which is kind of a shame. So obviously, and I think it also just leads to, you know, a better day 2 and day 3 because you have the best of 3s to look forward to.
Definitely better like quarterfinals, right? Because unless teams crazily overperform in a best of 3, which is less likely, you're going to see the likes of Astralis, SK actually going through the groups in first place, and then we have the bracket set up the way we would like it for once, as opposed to just having teams getting through when they maybe shouldn't, and then the bracket's all crazy, and then we've got SK versus Astralis in the quarterfinal, and everyone hates their lives.
I mean, we've been there before. We certainly have. We still haven't found out what's going to be going on today, though. Before we can even think about today, we have to look at yesterday. We already mentioned some names went home, but let's have a little look about what transpired in our very first day of DreamHack Masters Malmö.
We won the last tournament here in Malmö, which was incredible. This year we're obviously focusing on grabbing that trophy again.
A bit of a sort of a legend status on its own. He's so good at it, almost making sure they win the round immediately. Forrest again in play now with the triple. But he makes it back in time, and now he's a bit safer from this position. Going to be taken down. Get right, assist next in line, and
I think everyone in their A game for us to win DreamHack Masters.
Look at $20 next. So we've got to bring out the MVP. There's JW.
JW, that is incredible that he hit between the APCs. Got to get back further. Can't do it. Second off of Heavy. Certainly works perfectly.
Definitely coming into Malmö, we've been practicing a lot and playing a lot of matches, stuff like that. So we feel prepared.
To buy even more time. He's going to go down to Azza again, winning the fight and getting the headshot against Neo.
The Renegades, you got to see them in their flag-waving glory, but they also managed to wave goodbye to Virtus Pro. That is what probably going to be topic of discussion for many moons, just reminding us that Virtus Pro still are as unpredictable as they ever have been. Or perhaps, at this point, Yenko, is it becoming predictable?
That's the thing, it's actually becoming a little bit predictable. Anything besides the majors, VP seem to underperform massively, actually, and it's very difficult to pinpoint. Actually, it's not that difficult to pinpoint the exact problem, because when you look at it, you know, these are some prestigious tournaments and it just seems to be a matter of motivation for them, you know, that the focus just isn't there individually. They're not as much on point as they need to be. You can see that their game plan, the way they play, the thought process is still there, just the performance isn't.
And in stark contrast, just moving to the Ninjas, because we got to hear from them as well in that yesterday recap. They're now 1 best of 3 versus Gambit away from making it back to that stage, you know, making it back to that Swedish crowd that kind of drove them home and can defend their title. I
still think it's a pretty tough road actually to go through, because Gambit's no slouch by any means. Sure, they lost 2s, but you know, judging from how they did versus Mouse Sports, again, obviously a best of 1 so far, but they really haven't seemed to lost a step in that sense. Whether or not they're going to be able to maintain that over a best of 3 is different, but in the scenario could very likely be that NIP start off this tournament with a hot win versus FaZe, end up playing them in a best of 3 decider, and then going out in groups still.
Sure. I mean,
it's still a long road to go.
Okay, I was painting a beautiful picture of like, oh, just 1 game to go.
Everything,
Yanko just pulls the rug.
Classes.
Sorry, Halvor pulls the rug from underneath me. While I'm getting names wrong, though, we can go ahead and meet someone else. Let me see if I can get this one right. It is, of course, the ever-lovely Sue, otherwise known as Smick. She's been hanging out yesterday. She got to talk through those victorious moments, speaking to Nifty, in fact, after their victory versus Virtus Pro. We'll see what she's up to down there on the floor.
Hey Alex, how are you doing? Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I don't know if you can still hear me, but 18 today, Sue, 18 today. 18, yeah,
you tried to sneak that past us. You didn't tell any of us that it was your birthday.
Who announces their birthday? Who goes, hey guys, it's my birthday, good morning. Hi, it's my birthday, everyone.
Facebook didn't let me know.
No?
No.
Oh, maybe I've hidden it.
Yeah, I don't think Facebook let me know either, actually.
Oh, we're not Facebook official yet, Sue.
Are we not?
I think after Sweden, we can make that step.
Oh my God. This is changing. I thought we were closer than this, actually.
You're right. Yeah, that's actually quite upset me. And I mean, you've rejected all of my Farmville messages. You know, I want to share my turnips with you, and you're just sitting there ignoring everything.
Let's be real. You never sent me any Farmville requests. You're too busy with WoW.
Oh, okay. It was one evening, and I got my flying mount. So if you all just calm down about that.
Yeah, but as you are
what are you doing,
aware, I'll be chatting with the players today. It should be more interesting today as they are best of 3, so I think we'll be able to hear a little bit deeper about things that are going on with the teams.
Just before you leave us, was there an interview that stood out yesterday? Was the one that you feel like you learned a little bit more than the others?
I tried to get into the minds of especially the teams that have had a lot of roster changes going on. For me personally, it was always it's always interesting talking to Kerrigan,
I thought
and
so.
in particular with FaZe, because in terms of their results, they were doing so well. I did want to hear a little bit more of his thoughts on it as to what had been happening, and he did say a lot. He basically said things had been going wrong with communication and internal problems for a long time, and he was pretty honest about that. So I appreciated that very much.
Yeah, even he said, didn't he say some kind of a bit messy line, but it had some real sense to it, which was like, we keep winning or something. When you're winning, but you're doing mistakes or something.
No, I think he finished the interview with, when your ass is sweaty, or something like this.
Yeah, when your ass is sweaty, it was a sweaty ass time or something.
Yes,
it was something
like that.
Like we discussed this, it's much more articulate in Danish.
It's a classic saying.
I'm sure it's more eloquent in Danish.
It is. Okay, Sue, we love you. We'll be back with you when we do have a victor of our first best of 3. That is, of course, the ever lovely Smix. And that also is a reminder that, yes, Kerrigan's interview was quite interesting, actually, Yanko. I don't know if were you joining us on the desk for that one, where he was just kind of, we were succeeding, but we were making mistakes, and if you keep succeeding, you're never going to fix them or something along those lines?
I think it's a matter of when things are going well, when you're winning, you're not really doing that much self-reflection, right, in terms of what's going wrong in the games we lost, or even in the games we won, what were our mistakes. I think another good example is Magic's boy in North, right, while they were winning and while he was playing well, the personality issues that seem to have been the reason why he was removed from the team didn't seem to be that big of a problem. So I think Kerrigan is right in a sense that all of their flaws were very much revealed in a great manner at the major. Their 0-3 losses, not the way you wish for them to go if you're a FaZe fan, but unfortunately it's just the weaknesses that they've had, and even with an upgraded lineup now, they still need to work on those mistakes.
Yeah, they're going to have to work hard today. In fact, we can bring up today's games because the Magisk, of course, has departed North. However, they have got a hurdle to overcome today. They'll be kicking today off with a battle versus North, not Boot, as they have already been eliminated, in fact. And following that one, you're going to be having none other than Astralis versus Na'Vi. You get to see those guys go head-to-head. All of these are best of 3s. You also get to see Gambit and NIP. I mean, you already talked a little bit about that one, however, but I can't help.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. Actually, I think all of them.
I was going to say,
should be really, really sick.
If you had to choose, I mean...
But it's kind of a pocket, and it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me in that sense, because obviously that you can pick bigger matchups in that sense. You know what? There are bigger matchups in terms of names,
but
right?
It's not all about the size.
Some people are into whips, other people are into champs, and you're into Gambit versus NIP.
Yeah, no, I do that. I kind of still believe in Gambit. I don't think this is going to be the end of days.
I mean, they're not dead. No, they're not. Like, I still believe in Gambit as if they've suddenly become this shit team. Like, we forgot how to play Counter-Strike because Zeus is out of the team.
No, we did hammer the Zeus storyline home, didn't we? That was always something we would like, because they were not necessarily a tier 1 relevant team prior to his arrival.
They were a 2-map team.
They were a 2-map team. Zeus arrives and suddenly they're lifting a trophy. There's definitely some correlation there, tangible at times, whatever.
And it's not going to fall
They're not going to completely disappear.
No, God, no.
I look forward to seeing that matchup. But the first one is something we have to move into right away. Sorry, Chad, you're chomping at the bit.
No. I don't want to say anything. I was licking my lips. They're a bit dry.
I've got Vaseline back there.
I actually have some lip balm as well.
Playing WoW, you say.
Playing WoW, you say.
Well...
Let's have a little look at our first game there, guys. SK and North. Now, we talked a little bit about North, and they're, of course, a bit of a roster change, bringing in Valda. And what I love about this is that you guys have said I could ask any of you. I'll point towards you, Halvor, though. Valda's doing exactly what you expect from him, right? He's doing he's just Valda things, nothing's changed, and of course he's going to be going up against these Brazilians. Yeah,
no, absolutely. It's still the same old Valda that you saw in Heroic. Still, just his sole purpose on the server is more or less just fragging people. So in many ways, it's the same kind of a deal that you get with, or you get the same as what Magic's boy would offer to the team, except you get a bit more reliable version of it in that sense. And that's something Yanko alluded to yesterday when we were talking about it, how they have. Well, while the end result in terms of getting a lot of frags is the same, the process of how they go about it is very different. Magic being at times far too aggressive for his own good, something that can be very beneficial but also detrimental for them. With Valda, you kind of have more of an anchor more than anything else for that team, which is, again, easier to build around. And I think MSL even alluded to that in interviews, the fact that they're playing more structured now than ever before.
Reliable is actually a word that can be used for a lot of players here on the screen as well. You can see, of course, Cold Zero, one of the more consistent presences in Counter-Strike. People always say, sometimes you can kind of forget that he is the world's best player, but then you look at his numbers, Chad, and it's, the stats don't tell everything, but it is
just be one word.
Unbelievable sometimes the consistency this man possesses.
Yeah, he just gets it done time and time again. I think, the first guy we had on the screen there being Taco, I think he doesn't get enough credit for actually supporting supporting Cold to get the kills that he needs to get from time to time. That's a discussion for another day, but just to build up on the Cold Zero storyline, then you have Fur. Right, you have these two guys in this team who, at any given Sunday, can be considered one of the best players, or if not the best player in the world. And Fur's been overshadowed because of how well Cold Zero's done. But in the last couple of months, Fur's kind of been stepping outside of that. His aggression has just been off tap. He's been going ham, getting a lot of impact in that degree in the game. Yeah. And with SK and their new style, with Phelps in the team, it is a little bit different from when they had FNX. Even though they've tried to incorporate him into the similar system, it's a bit more aggressive, which means players like Fur and Phelps are getting a lot more kills on the board than what they would have with FNX as an anchor and Cold Zero then coming through with the clutches and stuff. So.
Still widely regarded as the best team in the world currently competing.
Yeah, I think it's definitely up for debate right now, and this event is definitely a step in the right direction for SK if they want to maintain that position and get another win on the board for the Intel Grand Slam, Alex.
Absolutely, that would be their second of the two events, of course, picking one up over in Cologne. And on the other side of things, you have the Danes, a new roster, a new face. You can see Valda, who has really climbed through the ranks. It wasn't that long ago we saw him on the stage, kind of bursting onto the scene, people asking who he was over at DreamHack Opens, and now he finds himself on the DreamHack Masters stage. That is the transition you know you've made. You've found some success if you start going from the Opens to the Masters. But yeah, this is the Danish roster now. It's been through quite some turbulent times, really, however, if you think about it. I mean, these faces haven't always been wearing North shirts. Cajun B, the first to talk about.
Yeah, no, they've kind of been all around, and that's kind of I guess, a common theme with Danish players and the Danish scene in general. They swap around happily. A bit of wife swapping going on pretty much for a lot of them. AZ's been around. Same thing with Cajun too. But again, it kind of creates familiarity within the very, very top elite players of the country. So even when you have roster changes, you oftentimes don't see that much of a lull from the teams who are recently created. And I think that's going to be a similar case for Northers as well. You're not going to feel that much of a hamper from actually bringing in a new player. They're still going to know each other's styles. They know how the players kind of work together into it, and that's why you see so often that Danish Counter-Strike is always relevant in that sense at the very top end.
We had any reports in that MSL's changed his sensitivity at this event, boys? Or?
I love that. That was so much fun.
I think he's sticking with the tried and true.
DreamHack Masters special.
Yeah.
He saves it for those events.
That's why I'm curious, you know, because we're at the Masters again. I don't know if he's actually brought that little curveball out again to help his team across the line.
Can you just quickly outline for the un-meme initiated? Because it's quite an interesting
story. So DreamHack Las Vegas, MSL probably had the tournament of his career, and he attributed that to lowering his sensitivity.
By quite an extreme margin, we're talking from 3-to-1 equivalent. It was insane.
Something nuts.
I also want to know if AZ went to the same middle school as Freiberg, because it seems like no matter what, he just stays on the team.
Jeez. He hasn't been there for as long as old Freiberg, though. Yeah, no. This veto can actually be interesting.
Veto.
Right? So,
yay!
So let's get so.
Why did North not veto Train?
That's a good question. North lost Cache to SK at Cologne, right? So that's probably why they were getting rid of that. That Cobble pick is no surprise. It's always been a little specialty of Dignitas/North now that they've got old boy. Not that they've got old boy. Ever since they've had MSL on the team.
Yeah.
And SK picked Train as the instant punish, which is what Yanko was alluding to, right? That's not really a map that North are known for. So hopefully that's something that they've worked on during the player break, which would seem unlikely because they're all on holidays.
But even then, though, if you think about North's history with Cache, it's not like that's ever been a strong point either. They tried playing it versus SK in Cologne, I want to say.
Yep.
That didn't pan out too well, and MSL has always been a big opponent, really, of playing Cache. He doesn't like how the map plays. He doesn't see it as as strategical map as the other ones in the map pool, so he wants to shy away from it. So I think this is more or less North thinking to themselves well, one of the two maps is going to go through either way. Doesn't really matter what we end up playing in that sense. Yeah, that's probably the gimme for SK in any sense, but we just have to focus on winning 2-1 instead of 2-0.
For me, this choice from North is very interesting because I think they went for Train simply because SK cannot prepare for them on Train. I don't think SK even expected it, and sometimes it's very difficult to play against a team, even though they're not that good on the mat, if you have no idea what they're going to do. But it's also interesting because I believe if they vetoed Train, SK would not pick Cache. I think they would have probably still went with Mirage. It's their favorite map to play, and North is also, it's one of their more played maps. So in that scenario, they get Cobble and Mirage, which is, I think, way better for them than Cobble and Train, because if it goes to a third map, I also favor SK on Inferno over North. So it has to be a lot of stock put on that Train pick. I think they're looking for a surprise win over there, even though they are, probably a favorite on Cobble.
So yes, North take Cobble, but where does that second win come from is going to be perhaps.
I mean, that's their...
I think if your options...
That's their thought process. Yes, we take Cobble. I don't think Cobble is a guarantee for them.
No, I don't think so either.
We saw what Immortals could do on Cobble. I'm sure the SK boys have got something up their sleeves as well. I mean, surely you know, when you look at the rest of the veto, surely, North, one of their best bets would have been Cobble outside of Nuke.
Oh, I think so. I agree with Yenko that I wouldn't have banned Keish. I probably would have just left her in there. And then, you know, I'd prepped on that because losing a 16-10, it was in a best of one. You know, there's a chance to turn that around the other way. I know it's still not a fantastic map for North, but it's something which, when I've watched them online, at least it looks like they've had a lot of potential at that map. So maybe something they could have worked on and gotten better at, but now it kind of sways me more in the SK direction.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to try and push you now. How firmly are you in the SK direction? Do you have some reasons as to why you're going to...
I have 3 reasons, and I know which camera it is today.
Okay, let's go.
The first reason is SK were completely unharmed during the, you know, the roster shuffle. So that's a positive for them. You know, they're versing a team who has a new player. That means coming into my second reason, the depth isn't going to be there for the map pool for North, which is just what we were talking about. SK have all of that. They have all the protocols, they have all the moves, they have everything. They have this tenured roster in their back pocket, and they can pull out anything they need to on any map that's going to be played. And that's taking it into the third and final point, is the depth of stars. We talk about Config, we talk about Valde. That duo, if they don't show up, North are in the bin. You flip that over to the SK side, you've got Phelps, Fallen, you've got the likes of Fur, and then the best player in the world, Cold Zero, and Taco to round it all out as one of the best support players. So SK got them covered on all bases.
Okay, well, you convinced me. Okay, 2 down for SK then. I'll let the other side of the desk juke this one out. Gentlemen, of course, coveted trophy.
Can I just have a little caveat for today?
Yeah, what's up?
Can we do map, like 2 0s, 2 1s?
Would that help with your predictions?
So, yes, well, and what we'll do is, well, if you get the team right, but the map's wrong, so you get the team right, you get 1 point. You get the maps right, you get 2 points.
Oh, that's so keen.
Yeah, you like that?
All right, okay.
I think this is Chad's wife actually catching up from yesterday.
Yeah, I'm
comeback
behind.
mechanics.
Yeah, exactly.
A big fan of those.
I'm 1 point behind. Everyone else is on 3, I'm only on 2.
Okay, and bearing in mind there were 6 games yesterday.
And
so really, truly, you can play along at home. Welcome, join us. Start on 2, and let's see how you do at the end of the day. Tweet us your answers at DHMasters, or tweet us individually if you really want to rub it in our face.
Don't worry, Chad. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish.
Well, we all know predictions are super important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a reason why we have a trophy.
The most coveted trophy in all of esports.
Made by Chad Birch. I just want to make sure everyone is aware. If you weren't with us yesterday, I got loads of tweets when I tweeted the picture saying, what on earth is that? Chad made this. Chad has made this trophy.
It's the Frankenstein of esports.
But it's also, it's because we need something to work for. These predictions need to have something on the line, and I can't think of anything better. Guys, 2 for SK. Other side of the desk, what are you saying? Yenko, you know, go for the North Lions?
I'm going 2-1 SK. I'll give Cobble to North. Fallen was yawning a little bit.
Oh,
you know, you hate to see that. Yeah. So maybe SK a bit slow to get into this game, potentially, but I think they are going to clean up on the last 2 maps.
Giving North some credit where it's due.
Yeah, no, I'll lean towards 2-0 actually.
For SK?
Yeah.
Okay. Alex, were you 2-0? Were you 2-1?
I'm going to join the 2-1 camp.
The 2-1 category, putting Alex
down. Valda's going to drop 47 frags.
Just missing that
on all 3 maps.
Wait, so this means I'm in the same boat as you?
What do you mean? Yeah, you're in the same boat as me.
That worries me.
We can talk about this off air. We've got to go do our jobs.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right, so it does seem like the desk thinks SK are taking this one. North, however, I'll have some faith in Cobble from the panel. We'll see what our casters are thinking, whether we get to see a full 3. All I know is that this map pool and these teams should promise to be quite the exciting affair. Henry G and Stadicus, gentlemen, it's the big dogs.
Happy birthday, darling.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Is it your birthday?
It is, yeah.
Oh, what are you, 20 years old now?
No, 18 today.
Ah, okay, cool. Legal in some countries.
In some, many.
Neat.
You've got good knowledge of those.
Why is that talking about alcohol, Henry? What do you think I'm talking about? Dear Lord, someone get this guy off the broadcast.
Now, Matt,
can't work with this guy.
Matt, I know you absolutely do love the Brazilians, so I want to know whether you think you're going to go with SK here.
Yeah, I am. I'm not even going to make that interesting. Yes, I am.
I think Cobblestone is definitely up for debate. I think North are very, very well versed in that map. I think potentially their best. What we've seen on Pro League so far with them on that map, I think it looks great. I think Valda's a nice addition. I actually think he's more beneficial than Magus Boy. So I do think they can take Cobblestone. Ooh, okay. But I do think SK take the series.
All right, we'll love you and leave you. Do your thing, boys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Matt, I have to